So just a few of the things that I've tried to clean up the top, including nitromorse to get rid of the paint, and it really is not having much effect. And I can sort of see why it was painted. I'm getting the feeling it was never a bare metal copper top. It was just painted from the outset, I reckon. And you can see there's some sort of white paint underneath, and you can just about see that. Then it's got like a green and then a darker green, and say some bits have had hammerite smooth on it, so it doesn't look pretty, and I suspect by the time I've cleaned the top up it's going to look the same. So I think I'm just going to take this out into the greenhouse now, because obviously it's getting really messy in here. I don't want to be in a closed environment taking this off of a wire wheel, because this stuff is, well, like the lamppost you can see, it's no doubt got lead in it. So mask on or not, in here it would probably be a bit too much. But I'm going to run over it with a Scotch-Brite pad first of all, and then possibly with these are like a nylon wheels. Wire brush is alright, doesn't dirt it too much, but as I say, it's not looking great. So I'm just scraping out the bits and pieces under these lips. Under these lips all the paint is just loose, it just scrapes out. But there's the odd bits, like for instance, I don't know if you can see this on camera, yeah, there's a crease there, you can see that crease, that reflection. So I'm just, bits and pieces like that, I'm just dollying out while I can. That's a bit bowed there overall, I think, really. I'm just scraping off the loose paint, and then I can go over it. Don't go using your best chisels either. These are just old chisels that I've got kicking about. Well, you can see how normally they're about that long, so it's definitely an old chisel, this one. And the only reason I'm scratching this out at the moment is because I can't use my big grinder, which means I'm going to have to use a drill, and it's a little bit more laborious with a drill, not quite so easy work. So I'd rather just scratch out all the loose stuff first. If you are using a chisel to scratch like bits and pieces, don't make it a sharp one. It wants to be sharp-ish, not brutally sharp like a woodworking chisel. Because all you'll do then is just dig into the metal, especially copper like this, it's quite soft. Now I don't think you can quite see, but above the door here, this piece, it's got a few holes in it, and I think it's been repaired before. I think you can probably see there, now you can see corroded along there, but this is lead, so I think this is corroded before, but someone's soldered it up. So, and it's a bit paper there, so whether I can clean it up enough to solder, I will do my best. I think that's probably the easiest way of doing it. Other than that, I'm going to have to cut a piece of copper plate, open the door and put it in there. I mean, it's all quite flimsy anyway, so it wouldn't hurt to have a piece of copper cut in there, but I'll see if I've got any copper sheet large enough to do that. But of course the problem is with soldering a piece of copper on that is the fact that this solder is so soft. So, but anyway, we'll see. I'll discuss that again with you when we come to it. There's another little hole just there, and there's one up here as well, just out of view of the camera. But yeah, it's it is what it is. So unfortunately, the copper is not as nice as I was hoping it was going to be. In fact, it's awful. The solder that's been used is extremely soft. I had a problem when I was heating up the linseed based putty. That was enough to start melting the solder, so it's extremely soft solder. But as you can see with the condition of this, and that's still feels rough, and if I was to take all the paint out of that, it would look goddamn awful. So as far as this bit goes, for sure I'm going to have to paint it, because it looks awful like that. And you can see the soldering job is just, that's all soldered to there. It's not pretty, but that's relatively smooth. I mean, it's smooth enough to paint on, but it's not as good as I hoped. Yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't quite know what's happened with that, but it's not pretty. Yeah, it'll look good once it's painted, but you know, not as nice as I'd hoped. I've got another one which I will be doing, which is already in bare metal, and that is so, well, so much nicer than this. But there you are. So I'm going to carry on. I'm just using a Scotch-Brite pad. You know, it's good enough to just take it off, but without actually grinding it away. I don't want to use like a flat wheel or something like that. It's just, that's too aggressive. Bits around this I'll have to do. I've got some smaller Scotch-Brite wheels I can do round these bits and pieces to neaten them up. There we go. I just thought I'd bring you in another closer shot. just like that, all the way round. So unfortunately, paint job it's going to be. You can see even though these posts here, let me see if I can get you lined up a little bit better. That's smoothish, but even then as I run my finger down it, it ripples like anything. So I think by the time they've been painted they're going to look a little bit awful, so I think I'm going to have to filler these. That, yeah, I've got to clean up still. This above the door is perforated everywhere. There, up in there, there. So I think I'm probably going to put a bit of like tin tape or something. You can get like adhesive metal tape, and then filler that side. I mean, it's weak as anything because it's just paper thin. I'm sort of reluctant to do any major soldering on it. There's a couple of corner joints here that I need to solder because they carry the weight of the whole thing, and I think realistically this needs to be filled up. So the door's the same. Anywhere else it's going to be looks rough, I'm just going to fill it up. I'm just going to try and make it look as good as it possibly can. As I say, the poor old thing looks like it's had a bit of a life to it, that's for sure. At the bottom here, I'll open the door again actually. This is brass, and it's looks like it's been riveted and soldered in. Same with this one. Big rivets either end, and when the door's open, it's been inlet to the original copper. These are cast. You can see there's the gate there, and this one's the gate for that one. So rather than grind it off or file it off, would have been the day, they just cut the copper out. That one they just left. And you can see they've cut a little recess for that as well. But that almost certainly, well, pretty much, I'm 99.9% sure this was a gas lamp originally. So it would have come up here, and you would have had the mantle here, which would have been either, well, not piloted, but a little gas mantle, and of course that would have needed to be lit. So I think they would have flipped up the catch, and with the pole dragged the door open. In here, lit the mantle, so this was getting constantly battered, and then they would, with the pole, just shut that again, pulled the catch shut. So these two bits here would have got a battering. So I think they were inlet to repair the damage of constantly hitting it with the arm, because obviously you've got to bear in mind this is like 10 foot up in the air on the top of a pole. So they have been repaired. There's been some sort of repair there. There's a repair here. That's been inlaid. The hinge, I'm not sure if that has been repaired or not. Quite possibly, not the hinge, the catch. Where else was there somewhere? Oh, there we are. This side's been repaired. Presumably it was as thin and weak as the other side, and it's been inlaid. So again, I think I'll just fill this up and make it look as nice as possible. I mean, pretty much you can only see to about there because it sits on that framework, so it's only the bottom lip. But I just want this bit to look really nice. I mean, the cast iron lamppost, it is what it is. There's no point in fillering that, because it just makes it look like one of these cheap, nasty cast aluminium Chinese ones. They definitely wouldn't have bothered making that pretty back in its day. But the top, I just think it's had a really hard life, and therefore needs a bit more care and attention on it, which is a shame. But you know, I was hoping to be able to clean it up and make it look nice and shiny copper, but it's never going to happen. The amount of work that would be needed to do that, you might as well make a new one. There's one of the joints you can see that's just cracked, and say the way that it supports, it holds the whole weight, so I don't want these opening up. So I'm going to have to brave it and solder that, and the one in the opposite corner as well. I mean, despite the fact that it's looking a bit bruised and battered, it's reasonably solid. I've seen these in a lot worse state. Yeah, I think it's going to need a little bit of fillering up and just making a bit nicer, because it's just had a really hard life. Anyway.